Hi, so what I got here is a lithium portable tire inflator. So let me go through this unit here. So this is pretty hefty, which is what I like about this. And after I got this, I bought basically one for every one of my family members. So this is really good. Now, the way to turn this on is a long press and a short press. And this is good because if you're storing it, it doesn't accidentally, get pushed. So I am gonna hold down the power button. So this is the long press. I'm going to push and hold, and it turns on. And quickly, to actually, start this unit on the power button, you just push it. So once it's long pressed and turned on, then I push it once to turn it on and off. Now I could adjust the PSI. So I could go up or down. So I'm just going to set it to, basically set it to 36 here. Now the other thing is there's many presets. So this is the preset here. And you'll notice it's a car right now. So I could toggle through. That's a bicycle, which has a preset default of 45. This is a scooter, a motorcycle. And let me zoom in here. See, that's a basketball. And then that's like a neutral. And then back to the car default. So you could toggle through. Now there is different measures, units of measure here. So to set that, you basically long press this. Long press means to hold, push and hold. So I'm going to push and hold, and you see it went to bar now. So the units of measure is now bar. And I'm push and hold again. Kilopascals, I believe that is, kPa. And then I'm going to push and hold again. Push and hold. You can see kilograms per centimeter squared. And then I'm going to push again to go back to PSI. So that's how you set the units of measure. So here you have basically the toggle between the presets, the unit of measure. Here is the up and down. So that's minus, and then that's a plus here. And then right here is the on and off. So once again, to turn it on or off, I'd long press. So long press is pushing and holding. So pushing and holding, and now it's turned off. Pushing and holding, now it's turned on. And when I turn it on, just one push turns it on, or starts the inflator. Well, short, another push, stops it. There is a battery meter here, which is nice. Now this is the preset, and then that's the current. So when you are currently inflating it, this is what's there. So you'll see that I'll demo it on both a tire and a bicycle. And then here is just a flashlight. So the flashlight, you can see. So just in case of roadside emergency. So turn it on. But what I do like about the long and short press, as I mentioned before, is that you don't, when you're storing it, you don't accidentally push it on or off. So that's the logic behind that. Now going through, so this hose is a little bit short. It's 12 inches. So lots of times, what's nice about this one is there is a heat protector here. So these things get pretty hot when it's pushing air through this. So sometimes this has never overheated for me, but I do let it rest for like 5 minutes after each tire for car tires. So I'm gonna turn it here, and this particular nozzle is different in the sense that it's a screw-on. So it's not the type where you push and then depress. It's actually a screw-on. So I sort of like this a little bit more, the fact that it's a screw-on. So that's, otherwise the hose is a little bit short, and the problem with a short hose is if the if the nozzle is like on the top of the wheel for a car tire, you have to prop this up onto a box, because it's basically just not tall enough. So just keep that in mind. And it does come with a carrying bag, and these are adapters for like your basketballs and footballs and stuff like that. So that's also what it comes with. And then it also has a second mode, which is, you know, plugging it into your cigarette lighter, but also comes with this USB-C cable. So this charges via USB-C right there. You see that's the charging port, USB-C here. And just to give you, let me try to, yeah, so that's USB-C. And then if you want to charge any devices, I would not recommend that, simply because you're using this as a tire inflator. So you want to make sure that, you know, you have the capacity to inflate tires. So anytime I get a flat, you know, or my TPS tire pressure monitor turns on, I'll use this, and then I'll get to the nearest tire auto mechanic. And, you know, so you'll notice that it auto shut off, which is, you know, another great feature there. Now, these things usually last about 2-3 years, so don't think that it'll last, you know, like the normal, you know, 5 years or 10 years for the other, you know, non-battery tire inflators. This is portable and a battery lithium tire inflator. So, all right, enough talking. Let me go ahead and, you know, give you a demo of both the car tire and also a bicycle tire. So this bicycle tire here is completely flat. So you can see it's completely flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it on here. So I'm going to long press and hold. And I'm going to do the preset. Right now it's on the car. So let me just bring it up here. So right now it's on the car, so I'm going to push it, toggle to the bicycle, and this tire here is 40 psi to 60 psi. I'm going to set it at 48, so I'm going to push up 48, so it goes by, you know, half psi's, so I'm going to set it to 48 here, maybe 48 and a half. So see, it's 48 and a half here. And now I'm gonna unhook, or, you know, take this out, turn this, and once again this is a, you know, screw on, so just gonna, you know, screw it on easily like so. Alright, so this is nice and snug now. So once it's turned on, you can see how flat this tire is. And I'm going to turn it on simply by pushing it. You can see this is turning on here. And there was an auto shut off there. So, you know, just to show you, you know, giving it the squeeze test. So this is nice and snug. So you notice there was an auto shut off. And now I'm gonna, you know, unscrew this. So that's why I gave it that extra, you know, half a pound, is because of the screwing off. And that's really it there. So there you go. Next test is the you know, car tire. So I'm going to do the car tire now. But that's really it. I hope this helps, and please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. So what you've noticed is after inflating that car tire, it's now at 94% the battery life. So for car tires, this does just do 4 tires. That's probably a difference of 5 psi. So you're inflating a tire 5-6 psi. That will probably drain this entire battery. So just keep that in mind, that this inflates about basically 4 tires. Despite what it says it'll do like 20 tires. That's probably not true. So you could see that it took up 4%. So let me long press this to turn it back on, and it does about 4%. For this particular tire, bike tire alone. So all right, so that's kind of like the battery capacity that you notice. Yeah, that's all I have to say about the capacity. So what you'll notice here is that the nozzle is actually kind of short. So I have it propped up on this little thing here for a little bit of reach. And this is going to shake, so this will help it a little bit. Now I'm going to turn it on with a long press. And what you'll notice here is that it's set at 35. And I'm going to screw it in, and then a short press will turn it on and off. So it has this particular type of nozzle that I turn in and out. So I am going to try to do that right now. But the thing I like about this is I could turn it on and then walk away, because sometimes these tires actually explode. So I don't want to be around the tire when it's inflating. So I'm going to screw this in. And as I screw this in, so I'm screwing it in tight, and this actually shows up as 32. So I'm going to turn it on now. I have it set at 35. So simply walking away. And it's actually done. I'm going to turn it off, and when I ride my car I'll see actually how much inflation it actually is. But let me turn it up like one notch. So I'll turn it up to 36 here, and I am gonna turn it on again. Shuts off. So the reason why I did that is because when I untwist this, some air comes out slightly. Actually I kind of like this twisted nozzle compared to the other ones where you push and you snap in, whereas this one's a nice that twist in. Whereas this one is a nice one that simply twists in. So this is a little bit different. The only thing that's not good about this is the short length of the nozzle. So I'm going to long press and turn this off. I'll put this back on, and I'm going to drive my car and see if it's actually 35, 36. But you could see how the difference was 4 to 3 psi, and it took about, I don't know, 30 seconds or so, which wasn't too bad. So this here is the upper top, so it's the front left. So it's the front right one. and you could see that it is 35 psi. So I set it on the tire inflator to be 36. So this is likely plus or minus 1 psi accuracy on both sides, both on the tire inflator and also on my car. So it does more or less match. And I was low, actually 31 psi when I started, so I did inflate this 4 psi in the 30 seconds that's shown in that demo. So it was pretty good. Definitely something I would recommend. It worked for its uses, and it was pretty awesome.